Hey, it's Anthony from BookCoverCafe.com, and in this video I'm going to share 3 common mistakes that self-publishing authors need to avoid when producing their next book cover. Let's go to the board. Okay, so tip number 1 is not to have your author name too small on your front cover, alright? No small author names. So I see on too many self-published books from those authors that having tried to do it themselves or getting friends and family to do it, that they end up having their names down the bottom right or left hand corners of the front cover. And this really does present a very self-published feel about it, and that's exactly what you don't want. Okay, you want your book to be confident to be sitting on the shelf next to any other sort of big name notable authors. Okay, so you may not be a best-selling author just yet, but any new readers coming by your book and discovering your book on the actual bookshelf or on the online shelf such as Amazon, chances are they're not going to know any different. They're not going to know that. They're just going to see what is being presented to them, and that's what your cover is going to be doing for you. So you need to be emitting a real confidence that you're a commercial author, that you're just like any other sort of best-selling author, even though you won't be. But that's the type of presence that you want to be conveying, okay? That's the type of author brand you want to be sort of building. So don't go with a small author name. So I'll give you an example. So you want to go for a cover, and we'll just do a cover here. We've got the title. What I'm talking about is self-published covers that have the names down in the bottom corners. And you've got to sort of have a squint and see who they are. And if you've really got to think too much about an author and the title of the book, people are moving on to the next book. So you really want to have your author name nice, big, and bold, and say, I'm an author. I'm definitely here to play. I'm just like any other great notable authors out there. Definitely pick me up. I'm certainly worth a read, and that's what your book needs to be doing for you. So certainly have your name nice, big, bold, and oozing a real sort of confidence. Okay. So tip number 2 is no clutter. Oh yes, I see this far too often. Again, there's authors out there either trying to do it themselves or they're getting a good friend to do it, and because they're so close to their books, they try and squeeze every single story element into the cover, okay, because it's all so important to them. But what you really want to do is just have a single element, a single clear, very striking element that is perhaps a little bit more symbolic of the theme of your story and the message you're trying to convey in your book. So what this does is it's going to be able to really tell the potential viewer, the potential buyer that's looking at your book, exactly what the book is about. The buyer needs to be able to understand within a second that they can sort of define what that story is about and if it's going to be suitable for them, to their tastes. And if your cover is far too cluttered, then you're going to be diluting your message, and it's probably going to get lost. And if they have to think any more than a second about it, they're moving on to the next book. All right. So make sure you have something that's striking, something that sort of draws the reader in, but just don't overclutter your cover. Okay. You want something that's sort of simple, symbolic, and that sort of complements the title. Okay. And that leads us into tip number 3. Which is no standard fonts, like Windows fonts, Mac fonts, okay? So you want to be, staying away from things like Times New Roman and the Arial fonts that you find, on your computer, on any sort of standard Word application. You want to stay away from those. Everyone knows what they look like. They're free, and they have a very self-published feel. You want to try and find some really unique and elegant fonts. Okay, fonts that actually really sort of help symbolize the theme and tone of your book. So, as a couple of examples, you might have a romantic comedy, and it's about a couple in love. They're off to Paris. It's a very sort of feel-good romantic comedy. So you might have a font that is very, sort of very, very round, very sort of free-flowing, sort of like an elegant sort of cursive sort of feel about it. And that sort of helps convey the type of story that it is, okay? And with a really good image, that's how you have a really striking cover that is emitting the type of message that the reader immediately sort of understands what the book is about, and if it's for them. They don't have to think about it, and that's what a real successful cover is achieving. Okay, so If you've got, like, say, something a little different, like a deep space sci-fi, then you might have a font that is a little bit more edgy, sharp corners and edges. Okay, that sort of helps to really sort of elaborate on that sort of very sort of cold and sharp, edgy, dark sort of tone to your book. So that's definitely worth something to consider, and it certainly shows. And a lot of the big name authors, you'll see that that's exactly what some of those covers are doing. So certainly do a little bit of research. Any good book cover designer will be able to help you find some really suitable fonts for you to be able to sort of choose from. You can certainly find some websites out there that have a range of fonts that you can actually find and see what really sort of works for you. And that's what I suggest you do. So there's 3 tips there. Okay, they'll definitely help towards your next book cover, and you'll be going a long way to standing out from the rest of the self-publishing crowd, which is exactly what you want. So for more free articles, updates, news, and free videos, head over to bookcovercafe.com, where you'll also find quality professional services for creating your book and your book marketing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.